Hello, how are you? Let's begin with world news. That's the moment of the blackout. A blackout. There we are repeating it again. That's the moment during the blackout. Over there in Greenland, this happened in Nuuk. At the same time, in this city and in some other parts of Greenland, the power went out. And well, obviously given what's been happening with this tug of war between the United States and the possibility of an invasion of Greenland, well, obviously all these kinds of things draw attention, especially considering that the same thing happened with Venezuela when the United States invaded Venezuela to go after Maduro. At that moment, the blackout occurred, and of course, everyone thought it might be happening again. Minutes passed, the blackout persisted, and no information was available. Greenland has obviously been on alert for some time now. For several weeks now, the population has been asked to make the necessary purchases to be prepared for this emergency. They made it clear that a war could break out at the same time. The United States, according to Donald Trump a few days ago in Davos, confirmed this. They shouldn't worry, they weren't going to be attacked, at least not in an armed way. But at the same time, they kept sending and are still sending messages where they show the United States government putting the American flag over Greenland. I mean, the harassment continues in that sense. At the same time, there have been blackouts in different parts of the world, this time blackouts in Havana. Havana is also, well, in Greenland. By the way, about an hour and a half passed, and the power started coming back in different areas. And well, now it's said that the power is back on. In Cuba, there are also reports, even in Havana itself, in the capital, of quite long-lasting blackouts. But this isn't surprising, in the sense that, well, they've already had more than a year with very intense blackouts. And now that they're not getting oil from Venezuela, obviously the blackouts are surely going to be much more intense. But at the same time, in the United States, if we're going to keep updating this blackout information, right now, there are 64,000 customers without power. This is mainly in Louisiana and Texas, the two states with the most blackouts at the moment, although they're not the only ones. There are several blackouts in Mississippi, New Mexico, the Virgin Islands, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, among other states. But the one holding the record is Louisiana in first place. Earlier, Texas was on top, but now Louisiana is in first place. Well, blackouts in this area. Look, let's get closer to the map. It's the northern part where most of the blackouts in Texas are being reported, according to what is known. That's the area, not the farthest north, but now Louisiana too. The northern part is the one with the most blackouts right now. So, well, it could be part of this phenomenon, of this front that, by the way, just happened a little while ago today. Donald Trump has already accepted the emergency declaration from several states. Not all of them yet, but several states have already had their emergency declaration accepted by the President of the United States. And this is also important so that the necessary resources can arrive, and in the end, so that shelters and infrastructure are available, and recovery after the phenomenon can happen as quickly and effectively as possible. There will be blackouts that will increase from now until tomorrow, because tomorrow it's going to get more intense. The southern part of the United States, so be aware of that situation as well. We'll do an update in a moment. No, we'll do an update in a moment. Since it's about what's happening over there in the United States with the phenomenon, this tremendous thing about the records that are already being achieved. But first, let's go to a very interesting piece of information. What's happening in India? Let's go with that topic. Notice that over there in India, a warning is being reported. 5 cases have reportedly been detected with this Nipah virus, one of the strangest and also most dangerous viruses on the planet. The confirmation from the authorities themselves has been surprising, and right now they are investigating how widely it has spread and why these cases appeared. The 5 infected people, and also now a nurse, who is suspected according to reports. Well, according to the latest update, the nurse is in a coma. Yes, obviously that fear that existed in previous years is being rekindled. Several cases and the alarms went off right away. This time, the health authorities in India detected an outbreak of this Nipah virus on the outskirts of Kolkata. Among those infected are medical staff from the private Naraya hospital, the specialty where they believe the outbreak originated. It should be remembered that India is one of those countries in the southern part of the world that are considered highly problematic in terms of potential epidemics, even pandemics. It is a country that has the potential to generate the world's future pandemics. Given this, the origin still hasn't been confirmed. That is what the origin was. Which patient started this outbreak? At the moment, it's not known. There are no details. It's not known. The patient hasn't been identified. Zero information from the authorities. They usually won't give their name and claim it's already identified, but in this case, it's unknown. What the authorities did do is isolate 20 people who are classified as high-risk contacts and are being tested, and another 180 people in an urgent attempt to stop the spread. In a country that, by the way, is the most populated on the planet, so obviously the risk is much higher. The problem with the Nipah virus is that it has a high fatality rate, somewhere between 40 and 75%. Well, this is also important to take into account. It can cause encephalitis and lead to a coma in just 24 to 48 hours after the first symptoms. So we should be aware of this, right?
A worrying issue is that this disease doesn't have any approved antivirals or vaccines to fight it. Nipah virus is one of the viruses prioritized by the World Health Organization because of its potential to cause pandemics in the future, and it is transmitted, for example, from fruit bats. We know that bats carry many viruses, and they are also a reservoir species in pigs and even among humans. The risk obviously increases in areas where there is a lot of contact between wild animals and people, which is something that has been multiplying in recent years. Because humans keep expanding into wild areas where there are animals. The likelihood of this contact keeps increasing. Since 1999, several outbreaks have occurred in India and Bangladesh, mainly in Kerala, India. Well, the situation... Yes, West Bengal has the first confirmed outbreak this year, 2026.
Well, that's the thing. It's one of the most dangerous viruses. Suddenly, and then it seems like people forget that these challenges are still there. Also, surveillance is possibly intensified. They're trying to find the origin, because without it, the risk is it could emerge elsewhere. By the time it's noticed, the issue could already be widespread. The case or cases of Nipah always put international health authorities in the spotlight and of course scientists as they try to find a quick solution. The World Health Organization is calling for accelerated vaccine development for the Nipah issue in coordination with global health responses. It's an issue where, well, right now there isn't any development, there just isn't any progress. They're not focused on that issue, and well, let's move on to other important topics about what's happening in the world. An interesting fact about India specifically is that it's believed that both India, Vietnam, and Indonesia, here on the American side, Brazil mainly is considered one of these areas where potentially, due to the proximity of bats to people, to cities, and highly populated areas, the ideal conditions exist for problems to arise from time to time. So, as long as the infrastructure is in place, as long as the proper precautions are taken, it shouldn't cause too much trouble, but sometimes it still happens, so we have to stay alert about that. This past week there has been a sort of turning point, right? But about this information that has been coming back once again from the Wuhan laboratory, the controversy continues about what happened inside that lab. Up to now, people don't really want to talk much about the relationship it had with some companies in the United States. There's a whole mess there too.
It's quite interesting.
Honestly, yes.
That's good. At first, it was basically a joke to even talk about that possibility. Now that the hardest part of the pandemic is over, the Wuhan lab and its ties to the United States are being discussed again.
Yes, exactly. Since we're on the topic, yes, quickly. Health, and before we move on to other important matters, there's a very interesting discovery, just like suddenly challenges. There are also positive things when it comes to health. And well, what we're seeing here, not in this image, are called lymphocytes. They're called T lymphocytes, and they're part of the human immune system. Well, one of the problems is that sometimes people's immune systems age a lot. I mean, suddenly, maybe they're 30. But their immune system is like that of someone who's 50 or older, right? I mean, yes, or the other way around. Also, there are very old people whose immune system is like that of someone really young, right? Researchers at the Brad Institute, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and Harvard, between these two universities, have developed a method that they claim rejuvenates the immune system. This is still in development and still in the experimental phase, but they say it's an advance that will, according to them, radically change health in old age. Does this mean older people will have a younger immune system because of this development? The study focuses on the thymus, the essential organ for the production of T cells, which are key to fighting infections. To fight cancer, I mean the cells that can suddenly cause cancer while they are fought. From there, this organ decreases its function with age, so as you get older, the thymus doesn't work as properly. Well, I guess it also depends on how you've taken care of yourself, your genetics, where you live, pollution, whatever you want. But with this development, they're trying to keep the thymus functioning like it does in a young person, basically.
Yes, basically what the scientists achieved is that the liver took over the job of the thymus through the administration of messenger ribonucleic acid, the famous ribonucleic acid that became very well known with the COVID vaccines. This is to create three main proteins that diminish over time, which would be the dynamic link library directly into the livers of aged mice, which resulted in a significant increase in both the quantity and diversity of T cells. The T cells that were not restored not only grew in number, but also those that were restored grew in number. But they also had a greater response to vaccines and tumors, because the immune system of these mice had been strengthened and in addition rejuvenated.
Well, this topic is really crazy. Previous studies to rejuvenate the immune system had shown certain risks. For example, there was this liver-based approach with ribonucleic acid, and there were other approaches that didn't use ribonucleic acid which were, let's say, riskier. And now, according to them, this one would be less risky, and they claim more promising in what it can achieve there. Among the leaders of the study is Feng Shang from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He states, "We are immediately imitating the thymus without modifying it directly, which represents, he says, a novel approach in regenerative medicine." This, by the way, is already published in the journal Nature, in case you want to take a look. Normally, some doctors or people in the health field might want to review the scientific publication, which would be interesting. Viewers from other universities, take a look and share your thoughts. This breakthrough, these scientists say, is going to open the doors to therapies that will specifically delay immunological aging. I mean, the person will still look their age, in this case, but internally, which is ultimately the most important thing, right? Internally, they will feel and live with much better health. The interesting thing is that you will live with an immune system. I mean, let's see. Paradoxically, it's one of those things where not many people actually take the medication. If you get sick here, the illness attacks you and your body defends itself, which is really interesting.
Yes, it's super interesting. That's all. We'll just have to see if it doesn't affect the liver's process in some way, because at the end of the day, the liver is taking on a task it normally doesn't do.
That it doesn't cause something else, like a third eye or similar.
So the liver can't function normally anymore, right?
Would the eye still accept it?
It can't be acceptable?
Can it be acceptable then?
It's behind the small bump on the neck.
It's not okay, but well, let's move on to other important matters as well. The wind chill in some places, for example in Canada, in some areas of Canada, the wind chill is reaching. This is due to the humidity, the winds, and everything at minus 55 degrees Celsius. Just imagine a wind chill of minus 55. Let's go into the details of what is known from this report and some signs and clues about how these phenomena will keep repeating. Well, not today. That's a separate matter. I'm back here. Today. It was amazing how these snowfalls have been reported in different parts of the world. I mean, it's not a problem. And the most surprising and unfortunate, obviously, is what happened in Afghanistan, with 60 people dead, with 100 and I don't know how many injured, accidents and situations. Nearly 500 houses, around 480 to 490, were completely destroyed. A lot of people are also refugees within their own country because of the war, living in very, very unfortunate conditions. Well, they had to face a really harsh snowfall, and that's how it is, but we're going to have to get used to excessive cold, excessive heat, whatever you want. In the report, they said that Afghanistan is similar to Pakistan, that they are those kinds of countries. Some countries that are in the Pacific, which are known as super vulnerable countries because of climate change. And all this, I mean, there are countries that
Are going to feel it more?
That are going to feel it much more, exactly, and others that won't. No, they won't feel it as hard. In the case of Canada, specifically, which has all the infrastructure you could want, all the infrastructure, isn't it like your buddy would say? The polar vortex is unleashing extreme temperatures. A mass of Arctic air, in other words, the same polar wind, is causing the wind chill to feel as low as minus 55 degrees. In the good part of the regions, even in the west, yes, not just the east, which is the part we're seeing, but also in this area, yes, where they've been in Cali. Yes, well, that's how it's been, but right now they're experiencing temperatures or wind chills that are really, really extreme, right? And so you see one of those records, one of those phenomena, this tremendous one. Now, what else is good?
There's already been talk of an air transport collapse, just like in the United States. Well, already in Canada, the airlines, like in Canada, have already announced cancellations, massive delays at airports, for example, in Toronto and Montreal, which are the largest cities. This is due to snow accumulation and cold, and they are already on red alert in Ontario, where the temperatures range between 30 and 45 degrees below 0 Celsius, which has already caused some shelters to collapse. And it was ordered, for example, and besides, the order is that no one should be turned away, because you can't turn anyone away, not in this cold. It would be extremely inhumane. That's how it is. They're overcrowded and there's a crisis, including an electrical one in the Nova Scotia area. The electric company asked, for example, to reduce consumption since the system is at its limit. I mean, if they don't reduce it, they're going to be left completely in the dark. In Newfoundland and Labrador, outages are similar.
Thanks to the saturation, which is tremendous. As for shelters, especially in Toronto and Hamilton, the shelters are full, according to what the authorities report. They are at full capacity right now. The measures are mainly focused on making sure the shelters have everything they need. Homeless people are being taken care of, obviously, and residents with precarious housing are also being taken to the shelters. Peña says, big thanks to Tapatia Plus. Peña, baby.
Peñita.
Baby Peñamiento says here Panterita, says Marcela. Happy birthday to Panterita.
Happy birthday, Panterita. Today's your real birthday. She started celebrating yesterday at 11:30.
Great, right? It was nearly noon. Almost time.
No, I wait until the last minute, until it's officially my birthday, because you have to hold on to your youth as long as possible, even if it's just minutes.
What time were you born?
Around 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Look, I celebrate at 3:30. Look, with a minute, 3 seconds. No, but yes, at 3:30. Well, within all of this, the United States National Weather Service also issued alerts for the Midwest and the East Coast. Not only are there blackouts, but also transportation cuts. The cold, according to the Environmental Protection Agency, warns there will be accidents, there will be blackouts. The recommendation is not to use generators inside homes, to avoid running vehicles in closed garages, and to maintain ventilation. Keep this in mind. Heavy snowfall is expected soon. It's not over. The worst is just starting. Donald Trump's government has already accepted several of the states. No, we'll talk about that in a moment, about which states have already had the state of emergency accepted. Because it has to be accepted, right? It's not just about the governors declaring it, but it also has to be accepted by the federal government. That's the situation, right? The prejudice is often just to save some money, so they refuse to accept the situation. Yesterday, there were almost 160 million people under alert, and today, there are already 200 million in the United States under cold alert. It's a historic polar wave. They insist it's the worst in the last 30 years. Even today, just a little while ago, I saw that Donald Trump already issued an alert notification because he always tries to downplay natural disasters. This time, I don't think he did that as much. In this post, at least, he warns and says they're already prepared. Thermal temperatures have been recorded within the United States. Well, not just the thermal sensation, not like in Canada, where the thermal sensation reached as low as minus 46 degrees in the northern plains, according to what the Meteorological Service reports. That's already close to minus 50. But in terms of thermal sensation, how much would that be? I mean, this is crazy, isn't it? Well, yeah, if it's minus 46, but the thermal sensation in this room is 25 degrees.
No.
Well, just imagine minus 46. Now we're talking about something serious. Arctic sea ice is hitting record lows for January, which scientists say is altering thermal patterns. Which, interestingly, as you all already know very well, these types of phenomena occur due to a weakness in the vortex. That is, interestingly, the polar vortex weakens. Let's see if we can see around here. The vortex should stay in the Arctic region. Now it's kind of like a sphere. Let's imagine it as a kind of sphere in which this, let's say, cold air with winds is trapped exactly, and it's spinning around and around, and suddenly they realize there was heat in the sea, and then the sea starts to warm up, and they say, be careful, because the vortex is coming. There, as they noticed, they realized there were temperatures. I mean, obviously I'm not saying it's hot, no, but it's warm in the sense that it's less cold than it should be. And when that happens, it's a sure thing that the vortex is going to break. And in this case, that's what we're seeing. It's a break that reaches us. I mean, it even affects us here in Mexico, right? I mean, sometimes it even reaches Central America. If the vortex intensifies, we'll see how far things go, but that's one of the most important points to understand about this situation, he says. The Arctic sea ice hit its lowest January extent on record, meaning it didn't freeze as expected. This altered the northern hemisphere's thermal patterns and airlobe strength. The side that slopes steeply south, such as toward the United States, Europe, or other regions. In other words, it breaks, and it's said they go south. The collisions between cold air and the Arctic, along with humid Gulf of Mexico air, have caused intense, dangerous snowfalls due to frost and sleet. And all those things that are happening now, yes, all those phenomena that come from ice, black ice, and all those things, yes.
We might get some sleet, mostly from early Monday morning on.
Let's see if it happens. But anyway, what else? What else have people been saying out there?
Well, scientists like Amy Butler from National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and Jennifer Francis also warned that the climate system has become more unpredictable. I think we had already noticed, and the polar vortex has become even more fragile. This warming in the upper layers of the atmosphere can cause storms like the one we're experiencing now to happen again this month. I mean this year or maybe next year. It's even stronger now. Cities like Minneapolis, Cleveland, Chicago, and New York face blockades, food shortages, flight cancellations, and emergency warnings. And everyday life, of course, is interrupted, especially if people lose electricity and are at extreme risk. But despite all that intense cold right now in Minneapolis and New York, there are protests. There are protests, yes.
Yes, no. I mean the protests, yes, no. Returning to these weather topics and issues, there's a topic that's been problematic lately, which is the topic of energy. I mean energy, more. The infrastructure problems in some areas have caused, well, these issues with the trees, right? They also freeze and explode, right? I don't know if we have any images of that, but let's take a look at it. Because when there is a sudden cold, according to what we've been reading, when it's a sudden cold, it's like sage that doesn't have wisdom, not this, instead of being sticky, so to speak. It hardens so much the tree cracks.
It explodes, it explodes, it explodes.
It explodes. The tree actually explodes. It's not usually dangerous, but it can really startle you, right? These phenomena are super loud. Look, there it is. Let's see if you can see this in Michigan at minus 40 Fahrenheit. That's not the phenomenon. So pay attention to what happens with the exploding trees. Yeah, let me see. It got stuck. The thing is, look, there it is. Now watch how
it bursts like a banana.
There go the federated ones.
As if this only happens when the temperature drops very suddenly.
Regretful.
The tree doesn't have time to get used to it, so the sap inside freezes quickly, like Pepe says, and it explodes because it can't fit.
I mean, look, listen.
Look.
Right? Well, if it is,
It looks like a gunshot.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
And it's only a 9% expansion, enough to screw in.
Explode from internal expansion.
So it's not like when you put a plastic cup in the freezer, you forget about it and it expands a little. It's not much, but they bring it to you.
But it can burst, and especially if it's sudden. If you bring it in hot and put it in cold, the phenomenon happens even faster then. Well, this situation is very interesting. Let's move on to other topics. This is Chicago. This is Chicago.
That's Chicago. That's the lake. It's called Lake Michigan. I think that's right.
I think it's called a lake there.
A little frozen. It's a little frozen there.
It's shallow, so you can swim briefly.
In Siberia, they do go in like that, but it's not completely frozen. There, they make a hole, since here it would be too dangerous.
Yeah, imagine that. I mean, it's not so much the cold, it's just that the...
Ice.
They're right there.
A big hit. And what is it?
Is it really tough? Well, let's move on to other matters, also important, about what's happening in the world. Hey, well, you can already start seeing these Hummers, these armored vehicles. Well, they're not armored, they're just Hummers. I just thought there were armored ones. But anyway, it's the United States National Guard arriving in Minneapolis. Over there in the United States, they're reporting a very serious situation. Today, a nurse was shot who they say was just standing there protesting. Truth is, if you watch the videos closely, that's what you see. What he was doing was defending some women who were there because the people from the island wanted them out since they didn't want them recording. He steps in between, they throw tear gas at him, and they start arguing. But at no point does it look like he's gonna pull out the gun or anything. In fact, they even take it away from him, and after they take it away, that's when they shoot him. The islanders' attitude seemed really cowardly.
Really, really low.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. There were a lot of them against just one person who wasn't even aiming at them, didn't have a weapon in hand, nothing like that. He was already under control, but now they're pushing a new narrative, even making statements. That must be hard for the family, right? I mean, because they lost a person, they lost a son, a brother, and so on, a member of the community. Plus, he was a nurse.
A nurse for veterans working in intensive care units.
Imagine a nurse for veterans and the elderly. And on top of that, the Secretary of Security comes out and says that he's an internal terrorist, a local terrorist. I mean, it's honestly unbelievable that they can sleep at night after making those kinds of comments. You know, they destroy families, they destroy a person, and they destroy the whole family. I mean, and then why do people get angry? And then why do people react? Why do these kinds of situations happen? Unfortunately, that's where it gets even more polarized, and honestly, it's in a violent way, absolutely violent, against a person directly who isn't doing anything wrong. And then to say, hey, they went too far, let's investigate, No, they don't say that. On the contrary. Now, well, we'll be paying attention to what happens, and in Minneapolis we'll be commenting on that situation. But yes, it has been tough. It has been tremendous. Here is the letter that the family wrote, right? They say they're possibly heartbroken. The family of Alex Petrie, the nurse who was shot, is extremely angry, they say. The disgusting lies that the administration has told about our son are reprehensible and repugnant. Alex was unarmed when attacked by murderers and cowards, the thugs of lice, of Trump. The letter already harshly describes the situation.
Exactly. Well, in one also you can see it, right? After they shoot him, you can see the desperation of Lysis people trying to find a weapon that isn't there with them.
No, they don't realize that one of them had already taken it out before that, so they start looking for the weapon. They search all through his pants, all his clothes, and they were waiting. It's also said that the photo where a supposed weapon appeared was fake. It was also an old photo from Google. No!
Yes, it was in this, what's it called?
I saw it on Reddit, but the photo was already old by the time it was on Wikipedia and online. That's the thing. People are really upset about this situation. That's their cell phone. That's the person. There they are, recording this situation. And well, it's quite a big deal, right? There it is. Let's discuss other important topics too. On the other hand, in Brazil, a comment is being reported that has generated a lot of global attention because I think many people have thought the same thing. Lula Silva accuses Donald Trump of wanting to be the owner of a new United Nations. In other words, he wants to form a new United Nations. And that's why he organized this peace meeting over there in Israel. I don't know if it's a new United Nations or not, but what he wants is to establish some kind of order without involving the United Nations. And besides, where he is the one who manages it. I mean, he wants to become not just the president of the United States, but like a kind of president of the world. Because countries are simply being asked if they want to join this board. To belong indefinitely, you have to pay a billion that I'm going to manage, right? So I'm going to be the president, let's say, of this arrangement that's going to try to achieve peace over there with Gaza and Israel. A topic Israel disliked. Many countries such as France, China, and others in Europe and Asia have not wanted to accept this condition.
By the way, I wanted to mention, did you notice that during the signing, several presidents were present, including some questionable ones like Viktor Orban? Yes, Israel had no representatives. El Zayahu didn't allow the Prime Minister of Israel or the President to be the representative because they don't agree with Israel.
They don't agree, but what catches my attention is that the United States insists on this issue. Consider both Israel and Gaza as well as the Palestinians in Gaza. So it's not happening. They're not taking Israel into account. They're not taking the Palestinians into account. They're only taking themselves into account. So, well, yes, it's a very curious situation to say the least.
Germany also cancelled Italy and simply said no. Since they didn't have a structure like the one the government requires to join, they couldn't enter this peace table.
Yes, no. This sounds more like something private that someone wants to control. Yes.
Business.
Just another business, exactly. It wants to operate like just another business. Well, this obviously isn't taking shape in any way. Only the Russians there spoke up. We'll get involved, but only if they unfreeze the money that's frozen, then, well, we'll get involved. Obviously, well, that's how things are. That's how these matters stand. By the way, there's a very interesting fact. Let me show you this. Look at this. Let's see. It's not this video. Let's see if I can play this video for you. Yes. If you see that buoy over there, the yellow one, yes, this report was made some time ago. This was in November 2020. Yes, thanks to that buoy over there, they were able to detect what would be the biggest wave in history. It's probably the biggest recorded, right? One that can be confirmed and people can say, yes, the wave existed. So, let's see. Here it is. There it is. It was reported in November 2020. A wave appeared that would be the highest recorded so far, at 17.6 meters as a wave. Not a tsunami, just a regular wave. The thing is, they say the conditions were so perfect that they say only this happens every 1300 years. I mean, it's not something that happens very often, but they're extreme waves. It happens there, maybe every 1300 years, but it can happen in other places too. The buoy off the coast of Canada detected a monstrous wave of 17.6 meters. They say that, as a record, this is the largest wave scientists have ever been able to detect.
How impressive. But anyway, years later, scientific studies confirmed that it wasn't the tallest wave ever measured, but it was the most extreme, proportionally, in relation to the waves around it. I mean, the others were small, so to speak, and this one was huge, and it reached almost 3 times its average size. This event was so rare that, according to statistical calculations, it only happens once every 1300 years. If not for the buoy, no one would have known about this.
No one would have noticed, and they say that later they realized there was an even bigger one recorded, which happened in 1995. That's the Trumpner wave, which is a 25-meter wave. Yeah, imagine that on a Norwegian oil platform, which is also the one that, along with this one they say, has broken all the predictive models regarding how the sea behaves. It's not something, a condition like, as they say, very extraordinary, where, well, imagine if you happen to be there. Well, that's really tough, isn't it? This is incredible. Today, Ruben has sent us a video from where he is. It's Lake Erie. Yes, Lake Erie is Roblox. Yes, it's Roblox, of course. Of course, it's Roblox. How are you, Roblox? How are you, Roblox? Let's see. We'll play the video now. Canada, that's in Canada, right?
Yes, yes.
Let's see. It's impressive what's happening. I imagine that, well, I mean, you wouldn't do it, right? Well, I imagine you can walk in some places there, right? Something like that. I don't know. Don't try it, but it's impressive. Let's see if we can show it. Roblox, let me... No. It's just that it's on the phone. I have to exit here. It's a bit of a hassle here, but we'll put it on in a moment. What else?
Well, let's continue with this one. Well, we said it, and well, these are called rogue waves. They're giant waves that were considered a myth until 1995. Until a famous wave called Dudna, about 25.6 meters high, hit this platform, as you mentioned. And well, according to Merrill Labs, the institute responsible for the buoy, well, they continue monitoring things with technology to enhance prediction, safety, and maritime security during extreme events like tsunamis from earthquakes or volcanic eruptions. No, as was seen some years ago, experts point out that climate change is indeed affecting the height of the waves in the North Pacific. So this could increase even more because records could be broken according to historical probability.
No, well, that's intense. That's what we're getting. Roblox. The Boyer Labs Institute. The institute is indeed affecting the North Waves, so records could be broken. The North Waves Institute, so even more because they could. The
Maritime
institute responsible for affecting North Waves. Merrill, the institute responsible for the buoy, well, affecting the Maritime Institute affecting that of the North Pacific? Or what else? Because there isn't a historical record list for this type of phenomenon. But anyway, let's see what other topics are out there.
Merrill, the institute responsible for affecting the of waves in the North Pacific. So does that mean that records could be broken? The historical probability Maritime Merrill. Is it affecting the North Pacific or because the records could be broken? Historical probability. Merrill Boya. Well, yes, it's impacting northern waves. Plus the records, historical probability. Maritime. The Institute for Waves is especially important since records and historical probabilities could be broken.
The truth is that it's really tough. Yes, they're very smart and clever. You can really see their intelligence when they're in front of you.
They judge you, you can see it in their eyes.
They really are. I don't know, it seems like they have a sense of humor, honestly. Let's review the comments while we check some details here and a few things over there.
Panterito says, "It's like my ex returning after 4 years with a northern accent. Why was it deleted? Oh, an idol deleted it."
I told myself, no, don't delete it.
No, yes, they judge you too.
He says, well, she already came bilingual. I mean, it's better. Yes, she already arrived bilingual, Patri. Yes, she already arrived. She already arrived. She already arrived bilingual.
I can already imagine all the curses they've thrown at her like that.
Yeah, this is the same thing they always learn, right? Isn't it?
Blondie, says Lorito, went to Canarias del Tapas, says Miguel Alejandro, went to a party, says, well, he says, they say, she knows languages and I barely know Spanish, says Marcela. Riquelme, she's already on her third language, just imagine.
Besides, yeah, I mean,
Greetings to David Parra, he says, I think it's a normal day in Canada. Are you talking about the cold? In some areas, yes, right? Yeah, they're used to that level, but in others, not so much.
yeah, no, either way. I mean, yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're prepared for that, right? But further south, right? It's more surprising to see Texas at minus 15.
Yeah, but impressive, he says. Roblox, it's the lake on the Canadian side, Lake Erie on the Canadian side, because it's also there in the United States. Yes, it's frozen, but not enough to walk on.
Okay.
That way it can crack?
Well, yeah. Greetings, Roblox, Aurelio, Panterita, Marcela.
Says Aurelio. Santa Fe, New Mexico. At 26 Fahrenheit, feels like 27, or rather, 27 with a feels like 26.
No, well, just imagine we're going to, where? He says where? In Santa Fe.
New Mexico.
Okay, let's see. Let's go to Santa Fe. Let's see what it shows us. But right now, because I think it's afternoon, yeah, it must be colder now. It's already nighttime. There it is. Look at what you were saying. Minus 20 something. There it is. Minus 27, around minus 25, minus 24. So in Celsius, that would be minus 3 degrees. No, that's not bad. Not bad at all.
Right? You don't need to protect the pipes here, by the way.
Do you really need to cover the pipes?
Because the temperature will drop Sunday and Monday. Do you use them? Rubles? She says no. I arrived in Torreon today. Oh, so you just arrived today and we're already back to reality? That's it? The cold is over.
Hey, well, no.
Well, the intense cold?
Rubles and Quincher arrive. If it's still 0 degrees and you say no, well, it's warm, it's comfortable.
Greetings to Maria Elena. Good evening from Huacan, Puebla. Thanks for the information. Pepe, hello Maria Elena. How are you?
Hello, Maria Elena. You'll need to read and write to my neighbor's parrot. How are you? Domingo?
Some parrots only learn a few phrases, but I believe they generally have a broad vocabulary.
Once I met a family that had a bird that was Egyptian.
An Egyptian one,
Similar to a crow, yes, And supposedly it knows more than just words. Yes, it can say words, but it makes sounds.
I know.
Yes, but what they do is they put, they have it's not a, what do they call it? A cage, a little cage, but it's a big cage.
They cover them and parrots mimic the sound.
So, is this technique used for all of them?
Yes, the technique is for all of them.
They had them with a blackboard.
Yes, so they wouldn't get distracted.
I asked why, and they said he learns by listening to the sounds.
There's one that makes a lot of sounds. I think it's called Stornino. We've uploaded videos that perfectly mimic R2-D2's sound, he says. Did he kick you, Pepe? My husband had one of these when he lived in Istanbul, and it came to his balcony, and he adopted it and let it roam free around the apartment. He had a cage, and when the lights went out, it would enter it on its own. Look how cute.
So clever.
I love them, but they're really expensive. Little stars for the permit and everything. It's clearly not a regular pet.
No, it's a lifelong process, yes.
They live a long time. Not long ago, we wondered what year it was because Churchill's was still alive around 2000. Something ridiculous like that is possible because if they live for 80 years, something like that. If he got the parrot as a baby, then of course.
Says Freddy. Good evening from Spanish Fork, Utah. Cheers. Tomorrow it will be -9 at dawn, but it will feel like -20. No, well, take care, Freddy. Greetings all the way over there, to Utah. Very good, says the crow. Yes, very intelligent, he says. Would training a parrot as a seismic alert work? There are always people who immediately troll you, saying me, just like the parrot does, right?
Yes, they do it exactly the same.
That's a good idea.
Yes, the ones who do. The guy who talks about earthquakes. Every time they're asking you to act like a person. I'm not sure which YouTuber says production, play the video before playing a video, but it's him. I don't know who he is. I don't know him. He says, the sensuante, the bird of 7,000 tongues. Yes, the sensuante has 7,000 tongues.
Thanks, not 7.
But on the bill it says 7,000.
Okay.
Or 700 tongues. What bills? Love the 101, the 101. Here comes the poem in Guatoito, where the bird says 700 of 700.
700, 713.
Says Alex Gilles Papaya. In Mexico, it means chaos. Wow. Here it's the same. If you say chaos, disorder, party, mess, no, well, it doesn't say. It says no less than 20. Says Alex Gilles. Don't they relate earthquakes with the sun? I don't remember how they've been talking about this individual, he says. Marcela. So much flu over there. Take care of yourselves with the flu. So much cold over there. Take care. The flu is...
Greetings. How are you? What does it say? What's up, Marcela? How have you been? Even if you haven't commented, please leave one. Thank you to everyone here and the community.
400 voices, not even you.
400? No way.
But everyone.
What's the phrase?
I'll look for
The bird of 400 voices.
Yes, a very beautiful poem. The poem by the poet Lavallo. Very beautiful. Here it goes, he says, here it goes. So you can check out the pre-Hispanic poets of Mexico. It says, I love the song of the Sensen, the bird of 400 voices. I love the color of jade and the intoxicating scent of flowers. But I love my brother, man, even more. Oh, man, Granito.
This greeting says, no. Okay, he has 1,000 voices. How are you, Dorian? He says, very good.
Greetings to Roro in Venezuela. Does the atmosphere feel different now that the government is changing? It's strange, isn't it? They want to justify doing business with the United States, but also, well, yesterday, this audio was leaked where Delcy said she assured that they were given 15 minutes to choose. Yes, of course, like it was something to laugh about when, well, everyone knows that since Qatar she was already super.
We need to stop thinking she was the one responsible.
How does it help her? Everyone knows. He says, did you see, Sarukan? It's cool, just no.
No, Sadokan, that's what it's called. It's like that one, you know?
Hello to FTCN and Jose Gonzalez, how are you?
Jose Sadokan, like that?
Let's see, it's Sada with an S,
That's why.
with an S-y?
Ah.
But together, sorry, I was just looking at the field.
Oh, with K.
Television series?
Television series, okay?
No, look, don't let us be right, says Minis.
From 1876-70.
Today he says this one is here. Where do you see her? She takes a lot of risks in movies.
She convinced on the way to Malaysia. So, oh, okay. Here it is. Look at the chest. Is this...
There at Cineta, at Cresa del Cina, come on, Celta is playing, right? Says Sol Pepe. And any information from European Organization for Nuclear Research.
From European Organization for Nuclear Research? No, nothing new has happened because you saw something interesting over there. Who says?
Sol Garcia Sol?
How have you been? Sol? No, nothing new has happened. I'm not referring to the same experiments. It's been a while, but nothing new that I've noticed. Huh? Greetings, right? Did you say? Greetings from Virginia, says Maria Minaya.
Already snowing, she says. I imagine the tracks with soap, yes.
Yes, greetings.
Greetings from Rodrigo Valenzuela, who made Papila Street the best news. Early morning on vacation, prepping the bedroom for painting, having fun and listening. Thanks from Parral, Chile. Greetings, Rodrigo.
Greetings, Rodrigo. How are you? Very good.
Says Beto Barra. Here in the satellite city, it's freezing 17 degrees. Don't come. Beto, say hi to, okay.
He's about to bet. Are you going to bet the exacta? Yes. Not me. Here in the same city.
He just jumps in. That's not how you prepare.
Huh? I don't get ready. No.
No, you don't wear special clothes or use plastic. I don't have special clothes.
No, yes, I can.
Wearing my own old clothes. Hi, Edwin Mesa. How are you?
Hello. How have you been, Beto Barra? How are you? Here in Ciudad Satélite, it's a chilly 17 degrees.
Tavi says, if it weren't as cold as it is in Minneapolis, something stronger would have started, says Tavi. And even so, there are protests. Right now, yes?
Yes.
Yes, there are people out on the streets and everything.
Very good, he says. Huh? Okay. He looks like Caliman, right? This character says, how are you, Maria Elena? Greetings to Puebla. Very good. Is he a pirate? Okay, he's a pirate. Got it. I thought he was like some kind of shaman or something like that.
Yeah, he does look more like the shaman, says Dorian. I had a feeling about this one. You see him as a pet, okay? One time I gave him away, and since that day he didn't like me. He never forgave me for that, even though I always cleaned him and took care of him really well. He sang really beautifully, but starting at 6:30 in the morning,
How crazy.
he does have feelings.
He got mad.
Well, of course.
Check it out. Greetings to Angelica Araceli and Jose Francisco, and greetings to Venezuela.
Maria Elena tells me that the nymphs also make a very beautiful sound. The nymphs, you know, I've been wanting to have them. Also because I see a lot of videos where they're really mischievous, and since they're small, they're more practical. Greetings to Maria Menaya, greetings to her too. She says, I'm surprised Marvel hasn't bought the rights to Caliman. Yeah, right? Maybe they just haven't wanted to sell them. If I recall, there's a dispute over the original creator, right?
Yes,
There is.
there are issues. I'm not sure why.
Well, as long as it's not sorted out, then no, I mean...
It could be. Kila Hyanda is also active. It's, well, with these sources, if I can put it there, it'll show up right now.
Hello, Angelica Reyes, how are you?
Greetings, Angelica.
Very good greetings. Francisco Barrios, who greets us from Venezuela, also says Francisco Arce. The books are by Emilio Salgueri. They're really good, but which one? The one he mentioned, this is Gayo from Kaliman.
Well, there's the battery source. This climber from the United States also checked in.
I mean...
If not bad because of the votes. But yes, this climber...
was broadcast live on Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, he's Alex, so he did make it, right?
Yes, he made it. There's a picture of him at the top, and he did it with nothing, no protection at all.
Alex Horrell, 40 years old, made history by doing this climb without ropes or safety equipment. This was on a building in Taipei, Taiwan, a building called 101 The Summit. He did it in 1 hour and 31 minutes. The skyscraper is 1,667 feet tall and would be the 11th tallest building worldwide. That's crazy, right? Do you remember this actor? What's the name of the one who did it?
Ah, yes. What's up with the buildings? Oh, I always forget his name, Jared Leto.
Jared Leto, exactly. He says, if we reach Monday, Sumos, how are you? Is DNC a PC gamer? How's it going? What do you play?
What do you do in the breach? Breach? Tell me Monday?
Let me forget. Chamberlain, how is Adelaide?
The Starling can't mimic chamber sounds, but imitates everything else. They also sing balls around the houses.
Ah, no. I don't know which pigeons those are, to be honest.
Patrick Monsav asks if you could share the antler census image.
Of course. First, briefly, the Torcus pigeons you weren't aware of.
The rules?
Normal ones, and they call them yes.
They feel like cakes.
Look, the day of... the classic.
The rats of the city.
What was the sense on?
Senson? Greetings to Pepita de Oro. How are you?
How have you been? Very good.
Mao greets you and adds that nothing beats hot chocolate and a long hug in the cold. Yes. It's not very spectacular visually. No, it's not like the Quetzal, which is visually striking. It's very, very beautiful. But what matters is what's inside. Did you know that crows, for example, are seen in colors by other birds? They don't see them as black because if you notice, it has reflections of many colors when the sun hits them, but other birds see them as super colorful. It's crazy. They live in another reality.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Pepita, yeah, Little Panther, He-Man coming soon in theaters. Yeah, it looks good. It looks funny, Little Panther.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. The one from the 80s was more serious, right?
Yeah, they wanted to make it.
I saw it in the theater too, yeah, but it was really exciting.
The ending? No, the ending.
Yes, I remember.
Back then, credits didn't roll at the end like they do now.
She gets confused because they used to take her places.
After the credits, Skeletor appears.
No, spoiler, that's it. It was very exciting.
I remember as a kid, and now there are already 2 trailers, right? Anyway, check them out. I mean, if you liked He-Man as a kid, you might enjoy it more.
Yes.
It looks like, yeah, with a sense of humor. Yes.
The truth is that they did it recently. There's a show on Netflix called The Toy Humeros, which talks about the toys from our time, from the 80s and 90s, something like that, and how they were made and why they were made. And when you realize that the cartoon was made to sell the toy, you say,
What?
is this? It's weird. It's kind of strange. We are a generation of marketing. We are victims of marketing and advertising and all that stuff.
If my dad bought a parakeet, we never realized it died from the cold each time.
Poor thing.
Greetings to, he says. The books by Emilio Salgari are really good, says Francisco.
He says that Marcela Riquel would like a piglet as a pet. The problem is when they grow up, right? They get very big.
Some little ones.
Even the smallest ones. What are the ones from Vietnam called? I think so. Some do grow. Not gigantic, but noticeably, they say.
They have the ability, as shown in the movie. I can't recall if it was Paul or Paulette and Mary in the 90s. Which one was it?
That I don't remember.
He says no spoilers, he says.
Alex says, here where I'm living, they have a little pig that's already really big. They're very smart and calm. Yes, they're very intelligent. They can solve puzzles, the ones babies do, with the star and circle shapes, the really basic ones. They can solve those easily. You don't feel like eating them anymore when you see them, he says. Greetings to Jose Francisco, he says. The Inquisition is the medieval version of social media, he says. Jose Francisco, greetings.
Greetings to Francisco.
He says, are Tonas really dogs? Yes.
Yes.
And she says, oh, a live-action He-Man, says Pepita. That one, yes, it's funny.
Yeah, it sounds funny to me, she says. There are no more trading top toys, she says. What? Trading top? What do you mean?
What do you mean by top?
I don't know.
Says Domingo. Could it be that they have the ability like they showed in the movie? I don't remember if it was because...
But I don't know.
I don't know. He says, we know it as Sin Sontel. It's imitated a lot here. It's a mockingbird. This is the mockingbird. It's not the nightingale. I thought it was the nightingale.
It's really good. Apocalypse Now? Yeah, the original version or the extended one. The director's cut is really good too. They brought that one to theaters a few years ago, and we went to see it because we didn't get to watch it back then, so it's really, really good.
They say, I was a typical kid who had dogs, mice, hamsters, a snake, crabs. Which ones did you have? Crabs, fish, I had cats, I had dogs. Once I had a mouse, but that one was more like a prop, but they escaped so easily. They're good, but no, there's no way. Basically, we have to close off the rubles, he says. They're toys everyone buys but doesn't want anymore, like Barbies, which have been around for years with nothing new. So what happens is that right now, if there are 6 toys that become a boom and then disappear, parents won't have many of them, but that doesn't last as long anymore. Starting at 7 or 8 years old, kids don't want as many toys anymore. It's really sad to see that because now they just want coins for Roblox or coins for Fortnite. They don't ask for as many toys anymore. And yes, companies are struggling with that. Greetings to Pepita, she says, just so you're all aware. In Charlotte, North Carolina, the impact of the superstorm so far is non-existent except for the wind chill, which is 16 degrees below 0 Celsius. Pepita de Oro says it's like being in an OXXO fridge, right?
At least that's what I imagine.
In New York, 3 people have died. Here, they're still investigating if the cold was the cause, but they were found after the fall. Greetings to Dorian Enix. There's also the Amazon series based on the game. The God of War will have 2 seasons. God of War?
The God of the God War? Yes.
It says here, it's just that once I bought a pair of white mice, and in 3 months there were already 30. And they escaped, and we had white mice for about 6 months in the house until we caught them all. Oh no, really, mice, rats, and rodents in general are such a pain to control. Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Right? And that's why in New York they just give them birth control pills. Yeah, instead of catching them to kill them, they realized it was impossible because basically they just keep making more. Let's say they see the population going down and they have more babies. So what they do is give them birth control pills and that's it. And they're also necessary. Besides,
I was about to say they gave them condoms, but they didn't.
Yeah, but the little mice know it's not too small. I don't know, the class and me.
I want more over here, the most.
The Magnum XXXX? No, well, they didn't tell him about the pill, but it's a pill so that everything is even. Greetings to Beto Barba. That good 80s movie from here, or here it's known as Fuerte Infernal. Watch it. It's a popcorn movie. I don't know it.
Well, team,
Pepita says poor homeless people could die without shelter, especially if they have issues. Yes, yes.
I mean, they're there. It's really tough with that. But if nobody sees them, well, that's how it is.
Greetings to Juan Gabriel, who's watching us from Panama City. Greetings.
Greetings. How have you been? Very good, he says.
He says that, as you can see, in Chicago, the impact of the storm is currently 0.
He says, well, it's good the impact is 0, though I bet the cold is intense. I mean, but you guys in Chicago are used to it. You already have everything ready, like the power and everything. That's not the struggle. The problem is when everyone here suddenly turns the heating all the way up. Here in Texas or in Louisiana, that's not the case. That's where the blackouts happen. Exactly. Where everything is hitting the hardest.
Cheers.
Thank you. It already went up on my CB2. The blackouts have already increased there. So yeah.
Marcella tells you what happened in Minneapolis cannot go unpunished, and this act has already crossed the line of shamelessness. We are left with nothing but abuse, she says. Marisol.
She says they don't want toys anymore, not even babies, just cell phones or tablets. It's a smart, fun, colorful toy. They see it, they throw it and drool on it. She says, don't touch their cell phone. The one we've used here with the 2 little kids in small rooms, Esther is able to play with them because, I mean, if you don't sit down to play with them yourself, if they want, well, the cell phone or the statue and play and be there for a good long while, and then they start picking it up on their own. Also, how to play alone when mom or dad can't join. But yes, otherwise, cell phones.
And then they're so small that anyway.
They may get addicted as adults, but at least let them have a good childhood since kids' brains are more moldable.
It's a problem because it affects them, like their concentration, says Marilana Onofre. Every animal has its own intelligence, and some are surprising. We have to be careful with them. It got heated. Well, yes, it's a hassle.
No, they can't take them by force either.
Panterita is heading out to continue celebrating. That's right, Panterita.
That's great, Panterita. Hope you keep having a great time. Cheers.
I'm still single. There you go. There it is.
There, he's letting you know.
He's letting you know. And by the way, LA, okay?
Has he misread Trump this week? I mean, it's tough. Like, well, he's kind of earned it too. Not exactly by hard work, but it's tough.
He's not going to do as well. He'll back down. With all that talk about 100% tariffs, Canada, he's losing it.
And what's coming up now with this whole thing? About the lace thing and all that, because the end is coming up. Government, yeah. So there too, there are things going on.
He says it's sad to see some YouTubers justifying the Minneapolis murder. Supporting Trump doesn't mean justifying all actions.
I totally agree, Tavi. I mean, okay, are you? Right? Supposedly, a person is pro-Trump or pro-whatever, but no, you can't defend it. Indefensible. No, that's what throws me off. There isn't any. Like an awareness that the communicator has a responsibility and should be more critical, but it seems like that's not the case. But yes, so it's really tough. And what happened? Well, it's not like you were already there. Despite the temperatures, the protests are really intense. Yeah, and this, and the annoyance, the anger is there, and on top of that, they come and tell you. I mean, this person is labeled as a terrorist without any reason, just because. They lie in front of everyone, and apparently in a very, very harsh way, also taking lives. I mean, they go, and that's how it is, even according to what he says. 5 years ago, I bought my nephew a bike, and he's still celebrating.
Chow says no to Kronos. If the money has increased, Mexico doesn't use it. It doesn't use its mines to increase our currency. He's just taking advantage of the Canadians who take the metal. He says, no, well, yes.
Good point. Should there be a strategy? Yes, let's see what the central bank is doing. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we should check what they're doing because, well, the Bank of Mexico doesn't just buy dollars, because if it did, the economy would be in bad shape. I mean, when you see how the peso is doing, they must be buying something since the dollar keeps staying weak compared to the peso, you see. This is still the drop in the dollar's price. It keeps falling. It's at 17.35, but the drop has been going on for a while, right? I mean, we can see it here. Look where that's coming from. It's the dollar. Since, look, this date, that's it. It's November of 2025. But if we go back, it keeps dropping. This one here, from 18, didn't go any further, right? We have to look further back. Look, hasn't it been dropping for a while now? See what prices were like here. At 21 pesos, it even reached higher. Let's check the dates. It last reached 21 pesos in April 2025, and then afterward, the dollar has been falling against the peso since April 2025, and even more in recent days. This means that maybe he's buying silver, or maybe he's buying gold. I mean, he's buying something. Because it's not something you worship, it's just something that's gaining value automatically. And it's true that if investments come in for whatever reason, well, all of that means there's less supply of pesos. And now, right? It's already at a point where it's no longer so positive for Mexico to have the peso like this. It's starting to become problematic. Because companies also want, investments that come from abroad. Tourists want their money to have value. So if the peso is too strong, it can discourage them from visiting. So it's like a balance that can't go too far one way or the other because it causes problems, right? So that's how it is, right? That's how things are right now. With this, gold is already set. Nothing about arriving anyway, the rise in gold, right? Or is it like that? Look, rises.
But that rise is impressive.
It's impressive. It's gold. From 900, 88, 11, no, almost reaching 5,000. I thought it would arrive on Friday, but now not until Monday. We'll check again on Monday, well, Sunday night. Markets open in Asia, so we can see what's happening there in real time. Isn't it maybe because it's just that if I'm not going to buy or not, but it's a reflection of how the world economy is doing. And in the end, that affects all of us. Positively or negatively, they say. It's not like it was. It's not going to be everything. I haven't seen you or your comments lately, but I send my regards. Has it always gotten better because of the shorting? Yes, I think it matters too. Mostly because of the shorting. We'd need to see where they're investing, including the central bank and others. Many currencies have bought gold. They might also buy silver or other things, but I don't know for sure or have that information. Greetings, Pepita, Nicole, and Franco. What a unique way to greet so early. This one says, how curious, the golden Pepita. So, are we meeting up? Patrick is chatting and asks how you are. Not going? He comments but says no one reads him now. Sorry, not going, but I always have. You're one of the ones who comments the most. If I see you, I read you.
If you share your opinion after we finish the notes, we'll see you. Because many times it gets cut off from one point, one side, or another perspective. Any profession, not just a communicator, by professional ethics, must always remain neutral. I, for example, as a computer and software development professional, have my own opinion about modern technological trends and the use of AI, but they have no place in my office. For now, I won't continue. Instead, I keep learning blacksmithing and carpentry, just in case the bad guys win the technological race of the new industrial revolution. Regards, Pepita.
Yes, the comment is really good because in the end, I think you should never justify anything that goes against logic or human ethics, right? But sometimes, maybe you like this intelligence more and you say this is the right one for me. Even we also try not to give our opinion in that sense. If we like something about one, we say it. If we don't like something about one, we say it, but maybe just because of personal preference. I like it. For example, this one I don't, and well, no, we prefer not to comment on that and instead say, let's see, this has positives from this and negatives from that. And then everyone can make their own decision because after all, tastes differ, right? And in that sense, we have to be as respectful as possible. But what if suddenly an intelligence like Grooks, who has been doing terrible things because lately that's what he's been doing, Grooks on Twitter, where people say things to him that aren't legal. I don't want to say it, but well, certain individuals of ages that shouldn't appear without anything, right? Physically, right? So those images showed up, and some disturbing ones have spread from an intelligence that wasn't restricted in that area. I hope they've limited it by now. But you're saying this shouldn't happen, right? This kind of thing shouldn't occur. These mistakes need to be discussed, especially by those in charge of technology, to criticize such issues because they shouldn't happen. That's what he says. Yesterday I was telling you that the Sazrosh Heroes series is coming to home box office. Honestly, Sazrosh Heroes doesn't ring a bell for me. Let's see, from home box office. Okay?
It's Education's cell phone.
We've seen him, her, and several others.
She doesn't ring a bell to me.
Her, yes. Let's see if she rings a bell to you. No, I don't remember from where, but we've seen it. And she says there are 2 seasons. It's like about war, right? Yeah, I guess it's kind of about war, yeah. She says. I'm not sure what it's about, but it has 2 seasons.
Cute actors star in it, but it's unclear if the peso's strength or the dollar's weakness is affecting the exchange rate.
Well, it's 2 things, but the point is that yes, the peso is strong, that's a fact. The Bank of Mexico has done a good job. It's been several years now. It's been stable, right? And that's important too, isn't it? That's a topic that's there. The data shows it. You can see how it's still been stable. Some of the younger people won't remember this, but there was a time when every January people were afraid the peso would fall, right?
Yes, it was classic. How much is the peso going to fall? The question was how much it wouldn't be believed.
How much exactly? That's even more reason. Many people used to buy dollars, making the price drop further, but now that's stopped because there's no need to buy dollars anymore. Because you can pay in pesos here. When you order something on Amazon, for example, something that comes from another country, and you pay for it in pesos right here, you don't have to go buy it over there in the United States specifically anymore. It could even be that people here noticed that the government bought luxury trucks for the prime ministers. There were criticisms of Morena, but they say it's to reduce expenses. Well, they're always going to justify it, right? What they criticize there is the hypocrisy. I think that's really the main criticism. I do think you need to have, if you're a minister, if you're a high-level politician, you have to have top-level vehicles. I believe the country deserves those things. But people also criticize the inconsistency when you want to say, no, we don't spend, we don't do this, and then you also make some expenses that, well, sound like luxury, right? They'll justify it and say many things, sure. In that sense, I think there should be good security for politicians, especially at a certain level, right? If they're armored, I think they should be too. I would actually focus more on other types of expenses, you know? The real scandal is in other areas. That's where the real scandal is. Review all the train cost overruns and related issues. I think there's a lot of money that's been wasted there and all that. That's what I think. But I don't know what you all think. Is it still worth working in the United States? You can earn the same in Mexico, especially when they stop taxing your money transfers. Yes, that's what people are looking for. Besides, the friends we have with families over there say, hey, how much do they tell you? How much does an apple cost? Some bananas? And if you can, keep working more hours, buddy, but how much? I mean,
You're going to leave and you're going to look for.
right? But when a friend showed up, well, I don't know if you remember that he went to Miami. We ended up at the beach and he showed up really happy. He lost his job here in Mexico, and since he was in a tourist area, well, it's typical that you make a lot of contacts, and he had a contact for a job. Also in tourism, since he had managed several tourist businesses in Quintana Roo, he had the experience, which took him over there, and he was really happy. He said you can eat cheaply. $4 or $5 feeds the whole family. I agreed. And he would send me pictures, and he sent me a pizza. Yeah, I was like, yeah, do you eat a pizza on the weekend? Yeah, I didn't say anything, but I thought, well, no. I mean,
Yeah, you can't.
you can't live like that, right? Or you can't live like that. You have to, well, eat real food, right? And that's the thing. Suddenly, in some places, it's forced. It's really expensive, isn't it? What if working in the United States and living in Mexico works out for you? Exactly. Or if you earn a lot, right? I mean, if you have a job like in something where you earn well, then yes, it works out for you. But if not, well, we have green card friends who work in Mexico at times because they earn more. Sometimes they're in Mexico, sometimes here. Because it happens, suddenly you get opportunities elsewhere, he says. Greetings, how have you been? Mauro from Jalala says, very good. The world is in a historic economic transition. For decades, the financial system has been based on fiat money, bills, and a physical backing, only because of debt, trust, and control by central banks. Today, that trust is weakening due to inflation, unpayable debt, and massive money printing. Yes,
And some very strange leaders.
some countries that once seemed trustworthy now don't, while others that weren't trusted before now inspire more confidence, along with some unusual leaders. So, this is a complete paradigm shift where things are going to be measured very differently over time, right? Also, a democratization of many things. I mean, before, nobody used to have an opinion on these topics. No, it was just like that. The dollar went down, the dollar went up, but now people are more informed and have more tools for those who want them. Those who are informed can more or less make their moves so they don't end up empty-handed, right? I mean, there are other tools now, even financial ones, that can, well, not exactly stabilize a family's economy, for example. I mean, it's not just for financial experts or millionaires anymore. A person who is well informed and knowledgeable about a topic, even without a specific degree. In that sense, you can protect yourself financially in ways that are very different from before, and that's also interesting. In fact, more.
Mauro says the great powers intentionally devalue their currency as a strategy.
Yes, hello Mauro, very good.
Says Alex, that my route is around the Secretary of the Navy and sometimes to Peña with 20 vans plus ambulances and the Navy and police vans. There's no comparing them to today's versions.
He says, well,
Have we always bathed? Yes.
so was it more excessive, let's say? I imagine everything, not all that stuff like Hell State, neither does Face and H say anything. I'll check it.
Pitbull says gold is good for washing, he says. Gold and silver have been real money for thousands of years. It can't be printed, isn't government dependent, and keeps value when currencies drop. That's why central banks are buying gold and savvy investors are returning to physical metals. They're safe havens, shelters against the collapse of fiat.
Greetings, very good.
He says the Axis, and that's not all. The helicopter of Secretary of Defense Calderon also arrived, and you even had the chance to get to know them, with a bar inside the M helicopter. And 17 are very big, old, and you can see beards. How I miss the 80s and 90s for a world I want to get off of, he says. Beto. Regards.
Greetings, Beto. How have you been? Very good.
Greetings. Tapati asks, where did the Franciscan poverty go?
That's what he criticizes.
I don't know if they didn't bring that as their banner, that's not the reality.
Yes, that.
It's also understood you must spend on security, which is logical.
Yes, I understand, but as you said, why sell something that's not real? No, you're right, he says. Nipah virus? Where is it? No. It never says, it doesn't say Nipah anywhere. No.
It's not this one, he says. It's better the way you do it. Now she's referring.
Maybe.
She says that besides that, I'm also seeing on the television news that Mexico is invited to Fitur, with all the gastronomy and culture from there, how lovely, how delicious everything is, since that's always the strong point, the food and the places. Yes, they have a lot of appeal. That's new. What Mexico should invest in is houses and advanced weaponry. Canada is not taking it as a joke, the United States says.
Not taking it as a joke, exactly.
Greetings to Cristina and Pepita de Oro, she says. But was it Pancho Villa's Franciscan poverty?
Okay, and what else does she say?
Greetings also to Martin Gutierrez. Very good greetings, Martin. Also to Elisa Sofia. Elisa says, hi, I'm here where I am. It's pure ice, not snow. Just tiny hail. Some areas will get ice, others will get snow.
Greetings, that's right. It's Nipah. I read it as PH because of that, but it's actually NPNIP.
I thought that...
The H follows the one per cell. No. I read it as if it were PH, like Nipah in English, but you're right. It's Nipah. That's a good correction. Thank you very much.
They say Norona's house cost $12 million, more than the White House bathrooms at La Gaviota, yet they still present themselves as austere.
So the problem is that they present themselves in a certain way.
If his house cost $12 million, that now seems like a small amount to me.
No, I think prices vary a lot in Mexico. But that house here would be impossible to buy for $12 million. It would cost much more. Honestly, I can't imagine how it ended up costing $12 million. Maybe it's terribly built or something like that, but I guess not. Greetings. How have you been, Alice? Lucia Lius. How have you been? Greetings to Spain. Very good morning, she says. Pitbull says today the dollar is at $102. We are entering an era where traditional money got blocked. You couldn't handle it. Won't it be questioned? Hard assets such as gold, silver, resources, and land will regain importance, while new financial technologies like crypto and tokenization aim to replace the current system. Simply put, fiat is debt. Gold and silver are wealth. Those who understand this protect themselves. Those who don't unknowingly lose purchasing power. That's the point, right?
Greetings to Lucia and Luz, who is not from Spain. Greetings, Lucia.
Greetings. I greeted them. Yes, she says, my people are here. In Tepos, land isn't expensive. Some plots sell for less than a fifth, so it might be even cheaper. It could be the construction, but yeah, it's surprising, right? The size for just 2 minutes, but still, you'd have to check it out, right? She says, greetings from me. How have you been? Very well. Let's go.
Guys, remember that we're on WhatsApp, we're on Telegram, and we send you the shipping notifications. We're also on X. On Twitter, it wasn't the same as on Facebook and Instagram. If I get confused putting them all together there...
Just say we're Pepe and Vivo.
On all the social networks.
Great. A hug. Take care. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the movies or series you're going to watch, whatever it is. And in the morning, we're here with all the information. A hug. See you later. Regular programming interrupted.
Thank you for tuning in.
This is PP Live.
The truth is intense, the unusual is real. We analyze it here, global perspective. Don't miss out, tune in to the PP Live channel with Pepe and Astrid telling it like it is. Raw journalism, here, respect is given. Turn on the alert, don't lose track until next time. Yes, sir, we're taking attendance, subscribe.